Buongiorno, buonasera, good evening. What's going on, everybody? It's Rocco here with another episode of the BOH Podcast. I hope you are having a blessed, beautiful day. It's like 80 degrees outside today, so that means the heat's coming. So, today, what should we talk about? I say we talk about the Coppa Italia final between Inter and Juventus, in which Inter came out victorious. And let me start by saying I have no expectations to win anything ever. I am a natural pessimist. That means I expect the worst and prepare for worse. I never think things are going to go okay. I always think everything is going to go wrong. I expect to lose every single game we play. This is what happens when you grow up an Interista and you add in being a Jets fan. That's what happens to you. So, basically, let's go over the game. Okay? Because there's been a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of just nonsense out there. First off, let me just start off with the CBS and Paramount Plus. Listen, Bonetti is a Milanista. Grella, obviously a Juventino. Marco, and this is not biased, he does a good job of hiding that he's a Juventino. He's the one who I know is the bigger Juventino, but he does a good job of hiding that. So like when he speaks, you don't see it, but what Bonetti and Grella, you could totally see their colors showing when they talk. Because if you were to listen to the CBS broadcast post-game, you would have thought Inter lost the cup. If you did not see the score, if you did not see anything and just heard them talking, you would have thought that not only did Inter lose, but they were embarrassingly beat. Better yet, they barely showed the trophy presentation. They kept that camera in the studio to watch them talk badly about Inter and how they played and yada yada yada, and Grella, soaking his Juventino juju everywhere, that they didn't even show the trophy presentation. They showed a replay of it. That's a terrible job. Like, that's embarrassingly bad. You pay all this money to get the rights of the sports, to Serie A, to get Coppa Italia, and then you don't even show, like, what happens after the game. You just show little bits and pieces where your analysts are just shitting all over the team that just won. That's terrible. That is absolutely atrocious. And they need to do a better job. Like, listen, Bonetti's a good analyst. I do like listening to him in the games, but he cannot hide his colors. He does a terrible job hiding his colors. I don't know. Dre Cordero does a great job, but Bonetti, maybe it's because I know he's a Milanista that I hear it in his voice, but they're just so terrible on Inter that it's almost annoying to watch. You almost want to mute the games. And then I don't even know who the Italian guy with the Italian accent is who says the games on Paramount Plus, but that guy has no business. Like, he's had laryngitis for like the past 4 weeks, and they still have him calling the games, and it sounds terrible. But that's what I have to say about CBS and Paramount Plus. Like, you need to equal it out up there. You can't have people who are fans of teams who cannot not show their bias. That being said, let's go on to the game. The one thing I took away is that Inter needs to send Dzeko back to Roma. I forgot if we bought him on loan or if we bought him outright. This guy cannot be brought back next year. This guy, it's like he tries his damnedest not to score. Like, I've never seen a player put so much effort in not scoring. It's like every time he touched the ball, he killed the play. And it's constantly happening. It's embarrassing. I cannot stand Dzeko. He has no business on the team. He shouldn't start the next 2 games. He should just put Correa in there and that's it. Because Dzeko is useless. He is 100% useless. That being said, Lautaro next to him. This is the thing about Lautaro. As much as I love him as a player, I love him everything that he does for Inter because he really does go for the team. The guy disappears way too much. How much you want to look at him as like a number 1 striker or like a big time name, he disappears way too much. Like how many games he cannot change a game. He'll put in a goal, but he doesn't change a game. He doesn't create the chances. Listen. Aside from the penalty kick, which was a penalty, I will get to that in a little bit. I do think both penalties were penalties. That being said, Lautaro, what annoys me the most is it's like out of his priorities, number 1 is draw the foul, number 2 is score a goal. That's how I feel like he plays. Like the priority is to draw the foul. And that drives me nuts. Because sometimes he would have a clear opportunity if he just made a move, but he'd rather draw contact and try to get a foul. And that drives me nuts. And that's not someone who should be a big name or number 1 striker. B, he can't do that. And I shout out to DiMarco. When DiMarco came in, he changed the game. He gave it a different dynamic and he did a good job. You know, but that being said, the Juventus fans crying is ridiculous. Them and Milan fans, they just like joined forces and became this giant salty parade that's just everywhere on social media. Like, listen, Juventini, you've been benefiting off bad calls for years. Years. You've won Scudetti off the backs of bad calls. There are a million games that Juventus had no business winning, but a bad call helped them. And these 2 penalties, I do not think they were bad calls. And that's not even... Listen, I can be an unbiased fan. I will tell you when Inter sucks. I will tell you when Inter deserves to lose. I will tell you if we got a bad call. These 2 were penalty kicks. They were penalties. Listen, the penalty against Lautaro, that was... How many points of contact do you need to see before you agree it was a penalty? You have De Ligt, whose knee hit his knee to stop his progression. Bonucci's leg that caught into his foot that stopped him from kicking. He's sandwiched between 2 players. The amount of contact in that play, there's a penalty there. That's what I don't get. It's like, how's that not a penalty? It's a clear goal-scoring opportunity, and he cannot score because his foot just locked behind someone's knee. What do you want to do in that situation? How are you not going to call a penalty in that situation with that much contact going on? It's ridiculous. The second one, listen, De Ligt needs to know when to pull away. He stayed too firm. He made that contact. And he caused a foul. Listen, you take either penalty away, we still win by 1 goal. Because listen, Vlahovic's goal was that second goal. That's all my friend. No, the first one. The first one, the tying goal. I forgot. Vlahovic scored the second one. So the first goal, that's all my friend Handanovic. We're losing the league because of Radu. And we almost lost the Coppa Italia because of Handanovic. Goalkeeping has been the Achilles heel of Inter this entire season and even last season. We won the Scudetto in spite of bad goalkeeping last year. Handanovic has his moments where he could pull great saves. You saw that yesterday. With the shot from, I believe, Dybala, which he put out. But in the same game, he will do something like that. He will dive in a wrong direction. Listen, I get it was deflected, but the ball was going 10 miles an hour. A professional goalie should be able to react to that kind of deflection. If it deflects after a bomb is hit, yeah, okay, I give you the benefit of the doubt. But when it's going at that slow pace, a professional goalie who trains every single day for this should be able to save that. And he doesn't. Handanovic gives away way too many rebounds. He sticks to his line like it's made of glue. He never gets off that damn line, and it has cost us many times this year. So, listen, Handanovic is suspect, and that's why I'm looking forward to see what Onana brings to the table next year. I know he's going to stay under Handanovic for a little bit, but I'm looking forward to having some consistent goalkeeping. Going on to the game again, listen, the referee, here's the thing. Right now, we have everyone crying that the ref... Listen, Bonetti was talking about this for hours. Oh, now we're going to talk about the referees dictating the game. Listen, what are you going to do if that's the game that happens? If you have Juventus who gets like that, whenever they start losing, they start getting snippy, that's what's going to happen in the game. The Brozovic incident, where you have all the Juventinians saying you should have got a red card. In the same breath that you all are complaining that the referee dictated the outcome of the game, you're crying because the referee did not dictate the outcome of the game in your favor. Because at a final, the referee, I always believe, has to be more conservative with giving out cards. He cannot be giving out cards very easily in a final. Because there's no reason to dictate a game. And that's what happened with Brozovic. I think if this is not a final, or if not, Brozovic really does risk getting a red on that play. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, it was the play when Brozovic caused the foul and then kicked the ball up in the air. All the Juventini was saying, the foul was a yellow, and then he needed to get another yellow for kicking the ball away. First off, how many times do you see that happen and they don't get a yellow card at all for kicking the ball away? That's not going to get called in a cup final. It's not. I'm sorry. I do not want to... Even if a Juventino did that, if a Juventus player would have done the same thing, I might have bitched for about 2 seconds that should have been another yellow card. But in the end, you do not want to change the pace, to change the slope of a game, basically, on that stupid of a card. You don't want to do that. That's why referees need to be more conservative with their card givings in finals. Listen, the referee didn't do that bad a job. I mean, to be honest, it felt like... I'm looking at the numbers now. Inter finished the game with 22 fouls, and Juventus finished with 12. It felt like that, because I felt every 10 seconds Inter was getting called a foul. I don't think Juventus was fouling a lot. They seem to have been pretty good with not fouling, but I felt like every second there was a foul called on Inter. Any contact made with a Juventus player, a foul was called. So you guys had the chances. And unfortunately, listen, for me, I am very happy that Juventus has no cups this year, because whenever a Juventus fan cries, an angel gets their wings. I am one of those people that despises Juventus no matter what. I do not root for Juventus in Champions League. I know people who say, you have to root for the Italian teams. No, I will root for the Italian teams that are not Juventus. I'm an Inter fan first, and second, I'm any team that's playing Juventus. I'm a fan of any team playing Juventus, because that's the case. Too many years have been spent watching Juventus benefit from questionable calls and Ukulu that they have. Just the ass that they've been having all those years of scoring goals in the 89th minute, 91st minute. They would get 7 minutes of extra time, and then they would score in the 7th minute of extra time. How many times did I grow up watching that? I am sorry, I cannot root for Juventus by anything. That is my number one hated team ever. Just a simple thought of a black and white jersey gives me a stomachache. Which now brings me to VAR. Listen, VAR should be a good thing. But the problem is, in Italy, and I don't watch other leagues much. I'm a strictly Serie A fan. So, I don't watch many other leagues, so I'm not sure how VAR is in those. But what the problem with VAR is that there lacks consistency. And that's something all around in Italy, is that the same referee will not call the same foul twice. And that's what VAR was supposed to bring onto the table. It was supposed to bring consistency, but unfortunately, they're using the same referees that are on the field in the booth. So the inconsistency just follows. VAR needs more work. I don't know what needs to happen, but it's not getting all the calls right, and it's leaving too much up for interpretation. And it shouldn't. Those 2 penalties yesterday, by all means, were penalties. I don't see much argument against that. Only the Juventus and the Middle East, I don't see it that way. But that's what it is. Inter wins the Coppa Italia. I don't expect us to win the Scudetto. I expect Milan to go ahead with it. And honestly, I expect the worst. No, I prepare for the worst. So I'm preparing for Milan to win the Scudetto. How I expect even worse, somehow every team will get deducted points that will give Juventus Scudetto. That's my how worse I think it could get. It's so illogical, but it's there. That being said, this weekend is my son's first Holy Communion. That will be a fun event. I have to wear a suit, which I hate doing. I hate wearing suits. I cannot stand wearing a suit. And what bothers me more is I had to buy a suit for the communion. I buy these suits. They're so much money because, Big and Tall, God forbid, Big and Tall gave you a deal. I wish I could wear a suit with the tags and then return it. But unfortunately, that's what they get you with the suits when they stitch the back together. They put the label on the outside so you can't hide it. Because they know people only wear suits like once. So I have to go to communion, I have to go to church. What makes me laugh is, listen guys, I'm honest, I don't go to church as much as I probably should. But to be honest with everybody, I don't have the best relationship with God. After he took both my parents from me, it can sting a little bit. I still don't forgive the guy. That being said, even if I still went to church, I still don't think I would say, and in your spirit. Because everyone pointed that out to me on the TikTok video, that it's no longer, and also with you. It's with and in your spirit. That doesn't sound normal to me. I do not like the remix. I'm an OG original. And by original means, whenever I started going to church, it was, and also with you. Lift up our hearts. That stuff. That's what I say. Even if I go to church now, and listen, I've heard them say, and within your spirit, whatever the hell spirit thing is, it still doesn't register for me. It does not register. So, I'm in that church, I'm still saying, and also with you. So that's the case, guys. It will be, and it will always be, and also with you, for me. I will not take part in the remix. I don't go to church much, guys. What do you want me to do? Everyone else, even then, when I did get taken to church, it was only the Italian Mass. The only time I ever went to the English Mass was when I was going to religion, and I had to drop off the homework to prove that I was there. And my mom would yell at me because I never brought it. Because my kids even hate religion now. Religion class, CCD, that nonsense. I hated it when I was younger. But that being said, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you all for listening to my nonsense. Forza Inter. È state buono. I talk to you later.